Ahoy! And welcome to the Boating Hour with Captain Rick. The Boating Hour brings you the latest and greatest essential information about everything that sails, floats, or motors upon the high seas of Southern California. From landlubbers to old salts, there'll be something for everyone. So climb aboard and get ready to sail with Captain Rick.
Ahoy out there and welcome to the Boating Hour. I'm Captain Rick and I want to thank you for joining us here on AM 870. We're here every Saturday at 4 p.m. and please be sure to visit us on the web at theboatinghour.com. And now on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble, The Boating Hour with Captain Rick. Thanks to our sponsors for the show today. For a healthy gut, the best probiotic on the market, Livia One Probiotics, natural, organic, and allergen-free. And Raycom Radios, reliable two-way radios, commercial radios throughout Southern California. Today, I have some special guests. I was at the Hall Outdoor Adventure Shows in Long Beach, and I bumped into the fellas from the Sunset Insurance Company. Welcome to the show. Who do I got? I've got Tyler and Matt, right?
Yes, correct, Captain Rick. We appreciate you having us on the show.
And Matt, let's hear from you. Are you tucked away there?
Hey, Captain Rick, yes I am. How are you?
Oh, excellent. Okay. Well, that's great to have you on. You know, I really enjoyed the show. I was representing both the Coast Guard Auxiliary and the NRA, the West Side Members Council, that does all kinds of safety training, and they're advocates of competition and training. And the Coast Guard Auxiliary, you know, I'm an auxiliarist. So the Coast Guard Auxiliary is, I don't know if you had time because you guys were so busy to talk to the guys in uniform. The Coast Guard Auxiliary are the civilian volunteers that augment the Coast Guard active duty, everything from training to public safety. But we're in every marina doing patrols, life-saving efforts, but we are there teaching public safety and wear your, life vest, and we do boaters classes. You can get the boating card. So I was in that booth. You saw me on the weekend in the uniform. I talk a lot about the Coast Guard Auxiliary. Well, let's talk insurance. Let's talk about your booth. First, let's plug the company because it's a young company. How do we get a hold of you? How do we find you? What's your website? What's your emails? How do people contact you? And then we're going to talk about your histories.
Yes, thank you. So our company name is Sunset Yacht Insurance. We have a website, which is www.sunsetyi.com, and YI as in yacht insurance.
Oh, got it.
So the best way to reach me is either by phone or by email. My number is 562-370-5629, and that's my cell number, so I'm available by call or text. And then our company email is info@sunsetyi.com. And you can reach us individually at tyler@sunsetyi.com or matt@sunsetyi.com.
That's excellent. How was the show for you? I mean, it was Thursday through Sunday, right? Yeah, we were there setting up Wednesday evening. So Thursday through. How was the show? Did you guys meet a lot of people and get a lot of business?
Yes. We had a lot of great interactions there. Thursday and Friday had some good long talks with some potential clients there. Saturday and Sunday had a lot more traffic, which was nice. And we had some great talks. People were curious about insurance. It's surprising how underinsured a lot of people are without knowing it. So it was nice to have a lot of those great talks and really inform people of what boat insurance is all about.
Yeah, it is interesting because people forget about their boat insurance, trailer insurance. Do you insure the trailer boats or the boats in the slip? And what's your main client, and what are you in the boating world? What are you going after?
So we insure all types of power boats and sailboats in California, Arizona, and Nevada. One thing about trailer boats, though, that is also forgotten about is a lot of companies include the trailer as part of the whole coverage of the boat. And we offer policies that have trailer coverage separate. It's included in the total premium. So it's not for an additional charge, but that is separate. So it does increase the value of the boat. If someone bought a boat for $300,000, they want to have that $300,000 coverage of the boat plus an additional probably $10,000 to $15,000 of trailer coverage. So that's one of the coverages that is missed in a lot of policies that we really emphasize to our clients.
For the dinghy racers, I'm a little dinghy racer. I used to sail and race with my dad. Are you insuring the $1,000 boat, the little racers? Do you get sailors that ignore their? Well, actually, you have to have insurance now to be in a slip or to park your trailer on any one of the marinas. So are you getting dinghy sailors? Can we get insurance from you too?
Absolutely. We can cover anything from a dinghy or a jet ski up to a 100-foot yacht. So we have all areas of the spectrum. One coverage we offer too is high performance boats too. So boats up to 120 miles an hour.
Oh my goodness!
Change.
Well, that's interesting. Well, I had a great time and saw a lot of people. I'm so glad that, originally, Bart Hall was my guest, my New Year's show. So he came on and talked about the history, going back to his dad when he started the outdoor adventure shows in after the war, 1947 he started. So it's got a long legacy. He was, of course, shut down for, during the COVID years, and then made a comeback, and now he's trying to rebuild. But it was originally the outdoor adventure shows, and then it turned into the Fred Hall show, and then he rebranded. When Bart Hall, he took over for the last decade when his dad passed, and then it was the Bart Hall show. Now it's the Hall Outdoor Adventure Boating and Fishing Show. Did you see how big a footprint that? What was the big company? The big fishing. On like almost half the place was fishing. Did you get to walk around? Were you too busy?
Yes, I did. I was able to sneak around a couple times and walk the show. And I like how you bring up a little bit about the history as well, because I remember as a 12, 13, 14-year-old walking the show with my dad, and just that really getting me excited for the fishing season back then. So, yeah, the show's always been special to me, and it's awesome to be a part of it now. And, yeah, there were some great booths, some awesome boats, great fishing equipment, just all around a great show.
Well, I'll tell you, you mentioned walking around with your dad. My dad and I would we would leave L.A. just for an excuse to get away for the weekend. And it might have been Del Mar or San Diego. I can't even remember, but way back when. And we bought our very first trailerable sailboat. I didn't see the sailboats, the dinghy sailboats there. Hopefully next year. There's a lot going on. They're already planning on next year and making it a much bigger show. Of course, there's the Pomona show, the Del Mar show's coming up, and then he's got something going on in September. So it's Turner's was there. Turner, they're a chain. I'm not sure if it's company owned or they're franchises, but Turner had a huge footprint, and it was unbelievable how many fishermen were there, and everybody walking around with the rods and the reels. And it was, of course, I saw my good friend Miles, who does the Halibut Derby. He was in there with the Marina Del Rey anglers, so he was there in a couple of booths. So yeah, it was an exciting show. I really enjoyed it. I've got next week. I've got Dave Estes, Captain Dave, who's been doing my fish report and weather report. We're going to talk all about all kinds of different stuff, and we're going to compare the hall shows, now what's coming up in the future to the past. But we're going to talk a lot about weather and stuff. But he has a Robalo, and what I heard from people is that the Robalo is one of the best boats to buy today, one of the best made. All the fishermen love it. I had no idea, so I thought Robalo was a small little trailer boat, but apparently they're one of the best in the industries. Do you have to study and understand and learn, what are the good boats? What are the boats that have problems? I mean, do you have to learn about the manufacturers? Is that something that do you get surveys? I mean, how do you handle that when you get people that come to you?
So a couple different ways. So surveys, depending on the age of the boat, will be required. And those are out-of-water condition and valuation surveys that are required by a surveyor that is credited through the NAMS or SAMS organizations. So for older boats, those are all required. And then as far as just getting to know the boats, that we really pride ourselves on knowing boats, being boaters, being fishermen. So we do that just out of preparing for being in the boat insurance business. It's not necessarily required, but it's something that we want to familiarize ourselves with. There's the better boats out there. When people are looking for buying a boat, what some things that may go wrong with certain boats or some things that are exceptional about certain boats. So we do study that, and then just being in the industry, we see what are the better quality boats, what certain boats may lack, and then what the insurance companies prefer versus what they like to stay away from.
I'm going to talk to Bart this next year about giving out an award, get people to vote. The nicest boat I thought was the Chris Craft center console on a trailer. It was an expensive boat. And of course, they've got quite a history. Chris Craft is one of the legends, but it's not the same company. And then I didn't know that Bayliner is the number one boat broker in the country. So I had no idea how popular Bayliners were. They had a boat that I liked as well there. And then, of course, the Robalo. I'm very interested. I might walk away at one of the shows with one of those. Okay, let's get into your history. Because I grew up with my dad. We would go fishing a little bit, but we were mostly sailors. I used to get sick going out on the small fishing boats as soon as I enveloped like fumes, from the engines. It was, I'm not the greatest fisherman. I kind of like it, but we used to go to a lot of time the docks, off of different marinas. So I'd go with my dad, and then we'd go sailing. And of course, sailing is fun. And the smaller boat, the better, because the dolphins come right up to you, and you're not like in this huge boat just doing one job. So I used to do that with my dad. How did you get started, Tyler? And then we'll go to Matt. How did you guys get started? Give me the idea. You're a young company. You're in a business, a big business. There's all kinds of activity going on in all the marina, a lot of boats. Tell me your history about how you got started. If you're fishermen or sailors or boaters, how'd you get started? And let's go back a little bit. Give me some stories about being a kid with your dad.
Perfect. So to start off, our company is about a year and a half old. We started out in November of 2023, but this has been in the making for a lot longer than this. So both our families are very close. We've grown up from with insurance agents in the family, businessmen in the family, and just some service issues from their past experiences with boat insurance companies. But to start out a little bit about my history is I grew up where I learned to fish was we would take family vacations down to Laredo, Mexico.
Oh, wow.
Where we'd be going out on pongas, searching for Dorado and yellowtail, and then just fishing in the nice warm air, warm water. And so really just enjoying time with my dad, my grandpa, my uncles. That's really what got it started. And then coming back, fishing off the coast of California here. My grandpa had a big trawler back in the day that we'd go fish the Channel Islands on. Then my dad, he's had a couple different Boston whalers that we'll go fish the islands, Catalina, San Clemente, chasing big tuna. So just the love for fishing really stems around just enjoying family time. Being out in the water with family is really unbeatable.
Well, I used to grow up and see I've got some Mexican relatives in Mexico City. We would meet in either San Felipe, Shrimp Village, and it was an amazing place to meet. Or we would meet in places like Tijuana when it was, the men dressed in white and played highlight and go to the Greyhound races. So I would go to Mazatlan periodically. We'd have some family functions in Mazatlan, and but here at home in the Pacific Ocean was not much of a fisherman. But, I love it. It's fun getting out there. As a matter of fact, when I go with friends, I sometimes I'll throw out without any bait on the hook just to sit there and relax. And then, of course, all my fisherman friends are looking at their fish finders, and they're like, okay, reel in, we got to move. The school moved over a couple feet. So, I get a nice nap, looking at the sunset, and then we're packing up and moving. So I'm not a great Pacific Ocean fisherman, but it's a lot of fun. I gotta get back into it. Did you see the Hobie Cat? Hobie has some kayaks completely set up. The complete, fish boat, but it's a kayak with everything from a bait tank and little hooks to put your your rods on. Did you get a chance to see those?
I didn't get a chance to look at the show, unfortunately, but I have seen those online before, and they look pretty tricked out. Those things are pretty cool.
Oh, and they're not cheap either. It's kind of amazing. Matt, let's hear from you, Matt. How'd you get started? What's your love? Were you a fisherman, sailor, powerboater? And how'd you get, what intrigued you to go into partners with Tyler to start this company?
Yeah, similar story to Tyler. I'm a third-generation boater myself. I was fortunate to grow up making trips to Catalina or joining my dad on fishing trips around the Channel Islands. And just growing up in the community, talking to different boaters, it seemed like a common theme was a complaint about the insurance, whether it's the online providers or the more legacy brokerages. It definitely seems like there was a demand for a newer insurance brokerage that really emphasizes service, quality to clients, and really just being on the market, hitting the pavement, talking to dealers, and putting our best foot forward.
Well, I like the idea of you being a young company. One of my biggest complaints that I hear, not just mine, but what I hear from almost everybody, is you can't get a hold of your broker. You got, if you're with AAA or one of the big companies, can't get a hold of anybody. They can't answer any questions. So I think you've got a nice, a nice idea. And, coming to the shows, you're going to meet a lot of people. Or if you're just joining us now, you're listening to the Boating Hour. I'm Captain Rick. I'm here every Saturday at 4 p.m. Please be sure to visit us on the web at theboatinghour.com, where you can listen to our podcasts and link to our many guests. And today we're talking with the Sunset Yacht Insurance Brokers, who I met at the Hall shows, the BART Hall down in Long Beach. It was a great show. Since you guys were so busy, didn't have a chance to run around and talk about your favorite booths. I'll tell you what my favorite booths were. My favorite booth when you walked right in was the nuts. Did you see that? I should get them on the show. They had like 500 different versions of dried fruits and nuts, and they were busy. I was running around buying them up and passing out. That was one of my favorite booths. I can't believe how busy they were. And then, of course, when you walked in, you had the guy with all the barbecue sauces. I always go there and buy their little package of their different flavors and hand them out at presents. This is where I start to buy my Christmas presents. So those were kind of my two favorite booths. And I'm not really much of a fisherman. I like Turner's. They had a big footprint there. But I think as far as the fishing booths, my favorite was the Marina Del Rey Anglers. And they are doing all kinds of stuff in Marina Del Rey. Miles has been on the show, and he does the halibut derby, and that's really growing. So that was my favorite booth as far as the fishing. As far as the boat brokers, I'm going to tell you, I'm kind of falling in love with the Robalos. So I'm hearing what a great boat that is, and I enjoyed the photography behind your booths was a whole group of people from Mammoth Lakes, from Central Coast, California, and they do everything from photo tours to kayaking and, of course, even mountain biking and a lot of fishing stuff, and they had the most beautiful photographs. Makes me want to just retire and vacation and move up there. And there was a couple from South Africa, and they do the same. They take you on tours, either hunting tours, but they also have the photo tours, where you just go and, go to South Africa, and they had some amazing photographs. I'm a photographer. So those were my favorite booths. But, the Hall shows, he's, resurrecting from the lockdowns. And, the Del Mar show's coming up. But I really had a good time. I had a fantastic time. Tell me about some of the people you talked to and the customers. Did you get a lot of people complaining about their insurance, about the problems in reaching their insurance agents?
We did. A lot of people will go for the easy online providers that they just do themselves without having to talk to anyone, which at first seems nice and easy until you have a claim. And when you're trying to get a hold of that 800 number, that's where everything goes wrong. And we even heard some horror stories of people having to bring lawyers into the equation just to get paid out for what should have been an easy covered claim. So that's something that we heard that's really unfortunate, which that's where we would like to come in and really provide that great service, work for our clients to help them with any insurance needs that they have. With all the carriers that we represent are known for paying out on claims, not being a hassle to work with. And we really want to emphasize that we are here for our clients and to provide that great service where they don't need to get a lawyer involved when they have to call that 800 number for those online providers.
Well, I had to call a lawyer when I had a problem with a neighbor, and it's I wish I would have called you at 562-370-5629, right? 562-370-5629, where you can talk directly to Tyler or Matt. And what's your website again?
It's www.sunsetyi.com.
Sunset YI for yacht insurance. I had to get a lawyer to deal with my insurance company. I had a boat that was up against the seawall as they were shutting down the marina because they were doing a big restoration project and it got delayed. I was one of the last boats to go. And a neighbor was Airbnb-ing their boat. And they were very nice, and I was very nice to them. And one of the ladies got drunk and stepped off her boat, and she was laughing, and she walked right off the dock. Walked right off the dock. This was a neighbor boat with a drink in hand, and I ended up rescuing her and taking her to the hospital, and it was a serious injury because as she walked off the dock, the natural reaction, instead of tucking in and falling in, she reached out, into the air, and her ankle and her wrist, and she broke them. It was a very bad injury. It was really sad. But they ended up suing me. They sued me because I was the neighbor, and they said, "Wow, your boat was so close." Well, it's in a slip, and they said, "Well, you were doing work on your boat." I go, "Well, yeah, I was doing work on the boat. I had nothing to do with her being drunk." And as a matter of fact, we made a joke and we said, "Did we save the beer?" And we took her there, but they ended up suing everybody, including me. And my insurance ignored me. I had to get a lawyer to deal with my insurance till they finally, stepped up. That was a nightmare. So I'm going to really promote you and have you. I'm going to go fishing with you. I'm going to get you guys to insure my boat and go fishing with you guys. You tell me when and where, because I definitely would like to do that. And then I'm going to bring my boat down and have you guys do a survey and get me insured with my sailboat.
That sounds great. Yeah, we're excited to get you on some big bluefin this summer.
Yeah, that's I love fish. I fish at the market. Because it always costs you more when you go fishing, but it's so much fun. And next week I'm going to have a intensive my show next week with David Estes. He's an absolute amazing guy. He's going to talk about the weather. We're going to talk a little bit about the Santa Anas because I don't really understand that. But it was great having you guys on the show. Once again, Tyler and Matt, you can reach them at 562-370-5629 or sunsetyi for yachtinsurance.com for the yacht insurance. And you're going to send me something so I can put up on the website. And I'm going to go fishing with you guys and come see you. And I'll come see you at the Pacific. What's coming up in March, the Pacific Sports Show?
Yes. So it's the Pacific Coast Sport Fishing Show, March 6th through 9th at the OC Fairgrounds.
You know what? You're going to see me there as well. Well, it was great having you guys on. You got to come back, and we'll tell a story of when I go fishing with you guys.
Perfect. Well, Rick, thank you again for having us on the show. It was great to meet you this past weekend. We look forward to working with you in the future. And, yeah, just one more time, we are Sunset Yacht Insurance. We sell boat and yacht insurance in California, Arizona, and Nevada. And thank you again for listening and for having us on the show, Rick. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you next.
Well, we're going to make this a regular habit and have you on again, and especially after we go fishing, well, I'll tell the story, try to impress my fishing friends. Well, that's all the time that we have for you today. I hope you enjoyed our show. As always, we're so very fortunate to have such wonderful and exciting guests, and I want to thank our guest today from Sunset Yacht Insurance. Remember, if you do it right and follow the guidelines and safety precautions, there's no place like being out there in the water in the fresh air and sunshine in beautiful, sunny Southern California. And let's not forget the coasties. protecting our waters, America's lifesavers and guardians of the sea. We're going to talk all about the Coast Guard active duty, the reserves, and the Coast Guard Auxiliary in upcoming shows. And, of course, we're going to be in May, a busy month in May. Fleet Week is coming up at the Battleship Iowa, and the week before is the Armed Forces Parade. Don't forget to visit us on the web at theboatinghour.com next week with Captain David Estes, all about winds and weather and fishing, another fish report. Keep your emails coming. This is Captain Rick saying ahoy and fair winds to all.